Hello everyone, my name is Rachel, and I'm the lead developer for Age of the Empire. Over the past year or so, we've been getting pretty popular within the community, and I would just like to take a bit of time to show where we currently are with our development and our plans moving forwards. Now, just a quick note before I go on, anything you see here is still work in progress, and we've got a little bit to go in terms of polishing, so treat this as a demo of sorts. With that little disclaimer out of the way, let's proceed on with the video. First of all, I'd like to open this by showing where we are with our overall Galactic gameplay. Our Galactic conquests are pretty much 95% of the way complete in terms of maps, units, and overall balance. A good chunk in the middle of 2025 was spent building all the GCs from the ground up to have much cleaner layouts and force composition, and all that's really left is mainly starting forces and heroes. In terms of the Galactic economy, we've made a large effort to work out and break down each aspect of management. Complete. You have your resources on one hand, your credits on the other, and a little bit of upkeep thrown into the mix as well. Very early on, we chose to go with the style of a high-cost economy, as opposed to vanilla Empire at War's modest approach. We feel that this allows greater representation and ultimately appreciation of just how expensive some things would be. Whilst an Imperial Star Destroyer may be in millions of credits in universe, having that be depicted would simply be unfeasible. Instead, we opted for an approach of keeping everything roughly within the 100,000 range, with the highest units, like Super Star Destroyers, being represented in the $500,000 price range. Fear not, for all of the money generation activities, such as mines and space stations, have also been increased to match this increased cost as well. When it comes to our resource systems, a lot of work has been put into it by fellow developer Kiwi to ensure these are relatively robust and work at all times. Initially, when implementing these, we had some teething issues with the game. Introducing not one, but 3 separate prerequisites for constructing units was something which it didn't take kindly to at first, but through a combination of scripting, XML work, and formulas, we devised a system where it now forms a core aspect of our Galactic management. Early on, we didn't enjoy the prospect of wanting to overwhelm the player, which is why we have pushed to make all the information readily available to read, not just in the Galactic display itself, but also within unit tooltips and the resource tab as well. Trading for resources, being able to buy and sell a shifting market, is something which helps make the galaxy feel more alive and ultimately provides new pathways for Galactic expansion. If, for example, you are in a very high deficit of credits, but have a whole lot of resources sitting around unspent, you can simply just trade them in to gain more credits, allowing you to improve your economy faster rather than just sitting around for the next Galactic week. There's a bit more which we would love to do with this resource system in the future, such as having specific worlds being involved in trading and potentially even a market crash. But for now, this is all a pretty good state for our first release. Lastly, I would just like to touch on the overall story and pacing of HGC. Currently, we want to keep it relatively simple with just some basic events for each main conquest, such as things like the Death Star construction, Mon Calamari Revolt, and Executor Project. Now of course, new factions, mechanics, and even types of conquest are all on the table for future updates, with many stories from the archives which we would love to represent, but all will come in good time. With the campaigns themselves, these are still needing to be fleshed out a little. However, we've already made some good progress into developing these through our initial release. We aren't looking to do a proper campaign with many missions, rather just 2 or 3 main events per GC that gives it a bit of character and allows the player to experience events from that set period in time. In terms of space combat, we've gone through quite an overhaul since starting our project, with numerous iterations and passes to focus on what we like, and forming the core concepts around how we want battles to play out. Combat pacing is noticeably slower than other projects, but the time to kill is still decently fast, eliminating the need of combat just being an absolute slog, with shots feeling like they do nothing. Compared to vanilla AW, we have massively overhauled the damage, armor, and shielding systems, to the point where it makes a noticeable difference as to how armored some ships are when comparing them to others. Weaponry is quite long range and accurate, with munitions playing a key part in the loadouts of vessels, and can really make a difference against larger ships. In turn, corvettes and screening vessels are absolutely critical for their munition interception abilities, both on the offense and defense, giving them a unique role that nothing else possesses in the fleet. Frigates range with everything from small pickets and carriers to armoured brawlers and gunboats, capable of eliminating enemy vessels rapidly. When developing our space combat, we wanted to put a special emphasis on how capital vessels were to handle, being quite varied in their roles and functions, with some like the classic ISD acting as great all-rounders. Take something like the Providence, however, and torpedoes reign supreme. We've gone to a bit of length to make each vessel feel and play uniquely in terms of armament and weaponry, with specific use cases for each and an ideal range. Paying attention to things like a unit description card and ability information can really inform your decision on how to use them best, and also save a lot of losses. In the future, we would love to expand space combat more with new vessels, weapons, and really experiment with the limits of the engine, seeing what we can achieve with tactical modes. For now, however, we really just want to keep everything simple and planned out, with a basic and easy to learn combat system, combined with a few of our gameplay features and changes. When it comes to land battles, I can say with confidence that these are mostly feature complete, save for a couple of tweaks here and there. Both myself and the team are really happy with the direction and pacing that Ground has taken, where units and decisions feel impactful, but still overall very fun to play. Seeing all the unit classes interacting with each other and having their own little strengths and weaknesses is really nice, including all of the infantry types with their distinct advantages and means of using them. You really can't just pick one single infantry unit and expect it to do everything. We've broken them up into each of their own little niches, so you need to combine them with your forces to get the most out of your combat capabilities. When we were first setting out to transform ground combat, we wanted to work a lot on the map design and general size of the areas, with most of the maps being neither too large or too small, with minimal choke points and areas of frustration. We very much want our ground combat to flow freely and not turn into a slog, and personally I've never really had a fight where I felt it was too grindy or slow, outside of a few maps which we've now reworked. I'm very happy with how our vehicle ranges play a large part in combat, with some specifically being tuned around a certain engagement distance. When we were originally working on vehicles, we wanted to move away from a system of things being peer adversaries, in part to have vehicles feel different, but also to force the player to interact with each type and achieve success. The key to winning land battles in our mod is to use a varied force and strategy, not the most powerful unit you have at your disposal. You can't just send a column of AT-ATs up to an enemy base, they'll just get annihilated by rockets. So you need stuff escorting, covering, scouting ahead, and so on. I hope this has helped as a brief overview of what we have to offer and what we are looking to expand in the future, as well as showing where we currently are with our development. In the near future, we want to look into a more open form of testing, eventually culminating in a fully public beta build before our 1.0 release goes live. I highly suggest joining our Discord server to keep track of updates, as well as to learn more about our mod and interact with the dev team. Link to that will be in the description below. Also, I will be starting a playthrough of the mod sometime over the holiday season. If you'll be interested in checking that out, and probably watching me make a fool of myself, feel free to subscribe. Have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one.